What's going on YouTube? This is SB3 and today I'm going to be starting a brand new series called PanicREVV. In PanicREVV, I'm going to be going through at the end of each residency and we're going to be talking about the top riders in the class. So 450 is obviously going to have a ton of riders, but we'll go through the 250 East Coast and then the 450 Supercross class. And basically what I'm going to be doing is going through each individual rider, highlighting some of their finishes, and seeing where they should be at on the Panic scale, or the PanicREVV scale. And it's basically broken down in terms of a level 1 is no panic, a level 2 is minimal panic, and a level 3 is going to be maximum panic. You need to be trying to fix something ASAP in order to keep yourself in the championship hunt or possibly into a ride. So I like where I got this idea and I wanted to try it. And let me know down in the comments what you guys think of it. Put your own PanicREVVs for your favorite riders down there to see if they should be freaking out. Let me know down in the comments what you think of my ratings, my analysis, and we'll go from there. So we're going to start off with the 250 class. Lots of stuff going on with them, and we're going to start off with the points leaders. We'll start off with Colt Nichols since he's got the most recent win. And just as a heads up, I am using the Racer X Online points results system. So it's right on their website. So thank you to Racer X Online for having this tool available for me to utilize during this video. I really appreciate it. But we're going to get right into it. Colt Nichols, the number 64, he came into the season with not a lot of hype, honestly. I mean, there was a lot of other riders, Austin Forkner, RJ Hampshire, Jett Lawrence, and I mean, even Christian Craig a little bit. They had the momentum, the hype coming into the season, and Colt Nichols wasn't really talked about. I know myself personally, I didn't have him on any kind of a list for a championship, but, you know, a couple of years back he was up in the points lead, but he's had his issues getting through it, and it seems like he's gotten them sorted out as of right now. So his finishes are third place at Houston 1, second place at H2, and H3 he brought home a win. And for me, I've got him at a level 1, no panic. He's on an upward momentum. He's podiumed every single round, and he's gotten better every single weekend. And he's been staying out of trouble a lot this season, which is not something that he's done in previous years. He's, I think back last year with Sexton, where he was running up in I think it was the heat race, and Sexton came out of the air and broke his hand. So he's done a good job of keeping himself out of trouble. He's kind of staying quiet in certain situations. I knew he got a podium both rounds prior to, but I didn't really put it together. So he's riding really solid right now, and I'm excited to see what he can do this coming Saturday at Indianapolis. So hopefully he's able to keep that upward momentum going, and it makes for an exciting championship. Next rider is going to be the number 29 of Christian Craig. Him and Colt Nichols are in a very similar boat. He started off the season with a win, third, and then a second place. So the only reason I've got him at a level 2, so minimal panic. I'm not super worried about Christian at this point in terms of what he can do with the season and what he's going to do as far as the championship goes. The only reason I've got him at a level 2 is because Colt Nichols has kind of snuck in and taken a lot of that taken a lot of that momentum to where, maybe he wasn't in a title fight prior to, but he's really kind of established himself as a title contender, and it's taken away some of that wind out of the sail for Christian Craig, in the sense that he blew a lot of people away at H1, and by the end of H3, it opened up the eyes that there's more competition out there that can fight for this title. So I'm not super worried about Christian at this point. I think Indianapolis is going to be a good way to kind of indicate where he's at and how he responds to the challenge of his teammate. Moving on to third place, Jett Lawrence. He started off the season with a 6th place, bounced back at round 2, got a win, and then he ended up on the podium after a gnarly crash in qualifying. So for me, I've got him at a 2. I mean, minimal panic. If I'm HRC Honda, obviously you have the hopes that he's going to produce well in the first season that you guys have him, but he's still a young rider. He's 17 years old. He's still learning how the whole Supercross thing works, and I mean, his personality still shows that, he's still growing. He's still growing up. He's still very much a kid in some ways, regardless of how he rides that dirt bike. So I'm not super concerned if I'm HRC Honda. I'm not super concerned if I'm Jett Lawrence. As long as he can continue to grow and build himself up in a way that he's able to go into, especially next season, with the championship in mind. I mean, he's 6 points down right now, so he's by no means out of the title fight right now. But to me, if I'm HRC, having him in the title fight's a great thing. But it's not necessarily something I'm going to be harping to him like, hey, you have to win this title. This is something you have to get done. And if I'm HRC, I'm going to take a step back and say, hey, keep doing what you're doing. And if a title comes with that the learning curve that you're going through, then absolutely, let's take it. But if it's something where he makes a few more mistakes and isn't necessarily in the title fight at the end of the season, it's not a big deal for me or for HRC. But I mean, that's really he's going to have to turn it around. He's going to have to continue being up at the front at the beginning of the race to keep up with Nichols and Craig in order to keep himself in that championship hunt. So that's the only thing I would change for him, is try to get those stars hammered out and try to keep up with Colt Nichols and Christian Craig as you progress through the rest of the championship, because I think that's going to be key in him staying in the title fight. Fourth is going to be the number 30 of Joe Shimoda. Very, very quiet, but very, very consistent. So he got third last year on the Geico Honda team, and he started off super solid. Round one, he came out with a fourth, followed it up with a fifth, and then last weekend he got a fourth place again. So for me, I've got him at a level 1, no panic. I'm not worried for him at all. He's done a very, very good job of being consistent on this bike, and even if he doesn't get the start necessarily, or even if he gets passed, it doesn't seem like that affects him a whole lot to where he's making these bigger mistakes and putting himself in a position where he's going to be outside the top 10 or really just kick himself out of the championship hunt. He's an additional 8 points behind Jett Lawrence in the championship fight, so again, I'm not super concerned about it. It's his first year on the bike, so I'm not really expecting him to come out and win the championship in what is his sophomore season in Supercross. But you want to see that progression. You want to see him getting better. You want to see him being comfortable on the bike. And I mean, the way he's riding now, I don't really see a downside. But that's just my opinion. I don't see anything for him. I've got him at a level 1, so I'm not super concerned on Joe Shimoda panicking at this point in the season. But fifth place, you got Michael Moseman. He's on that Troy Lee Designs factory racing gas machine. And he started off the season a little rough. Came in with a 7th, followed it up with a 4th, and then he had a 5th. And to me, I've got him at a level 2, which is minimal panic. He's on a new bike. The only thing that's going to kind of draw some attention to him is that he's the sole rider for Gas on the East Coast, so he's in a similar position that Lawrence is in the fact that the team's going to be solely focused on him that entire season. So that's going to add a little bit of stress to him, a little bit. But he's doing okay. Like, he hasn't had a breakout season like I thought he was going to have. And Lawrence getting into him with that takeout is definitely going to I think it's going to put a fire in him going into Indianapolis, and I'd expect that to help him turn around and put him in a position where he's going to get a podium. Or I don't think he's quite at a race win, but I wouldn't be surprised if he was up there fighting for a podium at some point during this season. And if he gets that opportunity to get a win, I can see him doing it, but I just don't know if he's quite there yet. Number 6, or 6th place in the championship, is going to be the number 115 of Max Volan, riding the Red Bull KTM. And he's coming in as a rookie, and he's had a solid season. I mean, he got brought up earlier than I think they were intending for him to come up, so having that opportunity for him to learn is, it's essential for him. There's no way better for him to learn than to go out there and have to ride Supercross with the best in the world. And the fact that he's gone through and he's had a 9th place finish, an 8th place finish, and then he's followed that up with his career best finish of a 6th place. And I've got no panic for him. He's a level. If there was a level lower, I'd put him even at a 0, because I don't think Red Bull KTM has the expectations for him to go out there and win a championship. From my understanding, he signed a multi-year contract, so this season can really be built for him to go out there and learn. Which initially coming into the season, I was a little bit worried, because I didn't know if they were expecting Max Volan to go out there and light the world on fire, or whatever it was. So I was a little concerned coming into the season because I didn't know what to expect out of it. And leaving round 3, coming into Indianapolis, he's exceeded all my expectations, and And I think he's done the same thing with Red Bull KTM. And I'm glad to see that he's having this upward progression where he's knocking on the door of a top 5 after 3 rounds in his professional career. So I think the ceiling is limitless for this kid, and if he can continue to be up front and learn from the top runners that are up front right now, I think it's going to be infinitely beneficial to him moving forward into his future seasons with the team. And he's just continuing to improve. And I mean, to me, the trajectory that he's on right now for the season, I wouldn't be surprised if he got a podium this season. I don't think he's quite there. I think the guys that are ahead of him in the championship are going to be hopefully a little bit more consistent. But it wouldn't surprise me if he whole shots a race, leads 7, 8, 9, however many minutes of the race, and then somebody like Christian Craig, Colt Nichols, or Jett catches him, and he ends up getting second or third. That wouldn't surprise me at all. I don't know if he's got not the consistency, but the stamina built up quite yet to go out there and win a race bell to bell. But I wouldn't be surprised if he was able to get a whole shot, lead the race, and then fall back a little bit. By the end of the race, finish 3rd or 4th. That wouldn't surprise me. But moving on to Josh Osby, the number 95. I don't know a whole lot about this guy, unfortunately. Coming into the season, the big names that I knew about were obviously like Christian Craig, Lawrence, and then like Forkner and Hampshire. And I didn't really pay attention to the other riders that were going on to the East Coast. So Josh Osby is a little bit of an unknown to me. But he's had a solid season so far. He's gotten 2 top 10 or 2 10-place finishes and then a 7th-place finish. For me, that's a level 1. I don't know a lot about the guy, so I don't know what his standards are. But I know he's up there and he's knocking on the door of a top 5 with some consistent guys that are up front. And to be that close and not necessarily be on a factory level team, again, I don't know if he is or not. But if you're comparing it to like the likes of Christian Craig, Colt Nichols, he's not that far off. So it's been a quiet season, consistent rides. You don't see a whole lot about him, or I haven't seen a whole lot about him in terms of on the broadcast and stuff like that. And honestly, if there was, I wasn't paying that much attention. If it wasn't the racing and it wasn't really like the top level guys, I wasn't putting that much thought into it, which is that's my fault. I should be paying more attention. But hopefully he's able to continue. He's sitting 7th in the championship right now. So, I mean, hats off to him. He's opened my eyes. And then Austin Forkner, the number 38. I don't even know where to begin with this guy. He started off the season with a 2nd place, followed it up the next weekend with a 6th place, and then he didn't start the main in the Houston 3, so the closing of the residency. And from my understanding, I haven't seen anything in terms of an injury update. But, man, Forkner seems to have found a way. He's a level 3. I mean, I'd probably put him higher if in my brain I would have thought of higher levels, but he's a level 3, so he's at maximum panic right now because he started off okay and then a silly crash, and I don't know how hurt he is. I don't know if he's going to be racing this weekend in Indianapolis. I don't know what to expect out of him, but he's already, 30 points down, sitting in 8th place. So, I mean, that pretty much takes him out of the title unless Christian and Colt and Jett and everybody else have these big issues that allow him to get back into it if he races this weekend. So, coming into it, I'm shocked. I mean, I really thought coming in, Forkner's demeanor coming into round 1 really had my hopes a little bit higher than normal. I mean, obviously coming in, he's the title favorite because he's been in a position to win a Supercross title in previous seasons and he just hasn't done it. So having the I don't want to call it maturity, but he seemed like he backed it down in qualifying so that he didn't make the stupid mistake and crash. And, he came out of Houston 1 with a 2nd place and he seemed okay. Before, he would have been pissed. And so I saw a little bit of growth within him that was like, okay, well, cool. Maybe he's going to be able to ride the consistency and get wins still, but be able to be there at the end of the season. And then Houston 3, he crashes out, and I don't know how hurt he is, but he walked away in a sling, so I'm assuming he's going to be out for at least this next, obviously he missed the last race, but he's going to be out for maybe this weekend. I mean, I don't really know. The way this season is structured, it's really hard for somebody to come back from an injury and still be competitive for a title fight. I mean, he missed 1 race and he's out 30 points already, so that's over a full race. Disappointed with what happened with Forkner, and I mean, I hope he gets gets everything fixed and he's able to come out and do something. I mean, I don't know if he's going to be out for several weeks or if the Supercross season's just done. I'd say personally, if he's going to miss Indianapolis, the residency of Indianapolis, just screw it and get prepared for outdoors and try to win an outdoor title. In terms of pointing out, I don't know where he's at in that grand scheme of things because he's gotten hurt the last couple years. But I know in the preseason press conference, he talked about this being his last year to get it done. So I don't know if that meant him going to the 450s or if that meant him, Mitch is at the end of his rope with him trying to get a title out of him, and it just hasn't happened. I don't know where he's at with it. I don't know if he's going to switch teams on the 250s, probably going to go to Star Racing, but Austin, he's just got me confused, I guess. I really hoped that he was going to come out and ride with a level head and lock down a championship because he's been clearly the favorite rider in the last couple seasons, or title favorite in the last couple seasons, and he just hasn't been able to get it done. So that's all I'm going to say on Forkner is he's level 3, maxed out. Like, he's got to figure something out if he's going to come back and win a championship, if it's even possible anymore. But 9th place, it's a similar option to Josh Osby. It's John Short. He's sitting there. He's a point behind Forkner. So he's running inside the top 10 with an 11th place, and then an 8th place. Level 1, like Osby, quite consistent rides. I mean, he's consistently keeping himself in a position where he's going to finish top 10. And I think for me, not knowing the rider, not knowing a whole lot about the rider, it's cool to see somebody coming in and breaking the top 10 and being consistent like that. That's awesome. So same thing as what I said with Osby. I hope he continues to produce these good results, and hopefully it leads to bigger and better things for him if he's on a privateer ride. 10th place is going to be Mitchell Oldenburg, the number 49. He had an 8th place, a 7th place, and then he had a 20th place at H3. So I don't know exactly what happened to him with H3. I don't remember what happened, or I didn't see what happened, and so I don't know exactly what happened on that, but I had him at a 2.5, which is, to me, I'm going to call it moderate panic. He shouldn't be freaking out quite as bad, but he had a solid start to the season, but he's got to get it turned around. I mean, if it was just him making mistakes and it was a one-off thing, then obviously that's going to go back down to a 2. Not too worried about it, but if it was like a crash and he's hurt, there's a little bit more things that you need to be worried about as far as that goes. And then the last rider I'm going to talk about in the 250 class is RJ Hampshire, number 24. He started off the season with a top 5, followed it up with a 9th, and then he did not start the main event at H3. So, or I don't even think he went into the night show. But he's in a similar position as Austin Forkner to me. He's a level 3, maximum panic. He's in the 2nd year of his contract with Rockstar Energy Husqvarna. I don't know if he's signed a new contract or not, but he started off okay, top 5. That's respectable for the field that he's in. I just went backwards. I mean, he got into it, Forkner got into it with him, and then starting off the season, RJ Hampshire, he just had I call it the RJ Hampshire race. I mean, he makes these little mistakes, and it's from what I've seen, and it just, like, he can't ride at that level to catch 1st and 2nd place or 1st place or whoever it is, and he rides above his comfort level to try to get to that, which I applaud him for doing that. But then he makes the mistake, goes on the ground, and instead of getting a 3rd place, he'll get a 5th place, or he'll get a 9th place, or whatever will happen. So I don't know his position in terms of his hand. I don't know if he's going to miss multiple rounds, or if it's going to be like, oh, he missed last week and he's okay now. But I mean, he's sitting 11th in the points right now, and he's even in a worse spot than what Forkner is. He's 8 points behind Forkner. So he's almost 40 points out of this championship going into the 4th round. So in terms of title fight, I think RJ Hampshire's done. I think if he can come back before the end of the season and at least have a solid end of the season and then a solid outdoors, I think that'll put him in a good spot to re-sign a contract with Rockstar Energy Husqvarna. I don't know if he's in a position where he has to move up, but he's got to figure something out, just like Forkner does. He's got to get race wins. He's got to start getting these race wins because he's been so close. He's had, I think, a Triple Crown win, but he's never had the actual main event win. So he's got to get that stuff sorted out if he's going to be a title threat. And to me, if I'm Rockstar Energy Husqvarna, he's got to start producing something. Like, he's got to get these podiums more consistently. He's got to get a race win. He's got to be at least being up in the mix and not making these little mistakes, tipping the bike over and dropping back to fifth. I didn't see what happened to RJ in terms of what happened, but I think he hurt his hand. I think he broke his wrist or his hand, or a bone in his hand, or something like that. So if that's what happened, depending on what hand it is, I don't know how he's gonna ride with it. So I'll be curious to see what happens after tomorrow, after the qualifying session. I guess if I don't see Hampshire out there in the qualifying session, I don't think Forkner's going to be there, but I haven't read too much into it to see if either one of them are going to be showing up at the races. I think Forkner's been pretty quiet on social media this year, so who knows? I think it's going to be important for either one of them to back it up and try to get to a solid season. Honestly, if you're going to miss more than 2 weeks, you're out of the title fight almost already, and if you miss any more time, you're definitely out of it. If I were either one of those guys at that point, I'd be shifting focus to the outdoors, or if Hampshire can come back and say, hey, I want to race the last couple rounds and try to get a race win. Because, I mean, at least in that field, Forkner has race wins. So he could definitely just go in and focus on outdoors and try to get an outdoor title before whatever happens next season. I don't know if he's pointed out of the Supercross series, or if he's just, the way he said it, it made it sound like he was going to have to go to another team, or he wasn't getting a contract renewal from Mitch Payton and Pro Circuit Kawasaki unless he got a title. So both of those guys are probably the biggest, have the most amount of panic that they need to do something to turn it around. So that's going to do it for this episode. I'm going to break this up into 2 parts. I'm going to do the 250s, and then I'm going to do the 450s in another episode. So let me know down in the comments if you'd like to see less riders talked about, in terms of if you want to see maybe just the top 3 or the top 5 or whatever it is. I felt with this one I wanted to talk more on, give more of a broad beginning to it, so that way I can hone in on, you know, a specific set of riders if you're wanting to have that, and then go through and really just talk about, you know, the top 10 plus Hampshire, because he was a notable person to talk about. But yeah, that's going to do it for this episode, guys. If you like this type of content, let me know down in the comments. And if you haven't already, please like, share, and subscribe to the channel, so I can continue making these videos, and let me know what you guys want to see as far as content. In terms of if you want to see more stuff like this. Again, the show is going to be called PanicREVV. If you like that name, let me know. If you don't, let me know. Give me some other options. And then be on the lookout for the 450 PanicREVV. And then I will see you guys after Indy 1. Thank you guys so much. I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.